You're live, Mr. Wade.
Good night. Good night to our Belizean people, both at home and abroad. Welcome to our 243rd edition of our Belizean Affairs show on a blessed Wednesday, January 15, 2025. Uh, as always, time waits for no one. Um, Sorry for, running a little late, but better late than never. Um, there's a lot going on in our country. You know, those who in tune with what's going on know that I am not telling a lie. Uh, but we will talk about some of these issues as usual, and we offer solutions always. We call out the good and the bad, and we offer solutions. Um, we'll jump straight into our program, and it's a pleasure sitting with you, Mr. Leonard Brackett, tonight.
Pleasure's mine too, sir.
And we should be joined shortly by our next panelist, Gregory Brackett. He should be in the background, queuing up something, as we always show and tell. We do not haul anything out of our back pocket. And no, we show and tell. And on that note, I'll ask Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in a prayer, and then I'll do a reading. As always, we start our program with a prayer. We are not pastors, or we are not running any church services, but we are human beings, and we know that there is a God. So we always give thanks and praise to the Almighty.
Amen.
On that note, I'll ask Mr. Brackett to lead us in a prayer, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Divine loving Father, we pray that thou mayest accept our humble expression of gratitude to you for having given us the privilege of life, first of all, and secondly, for giving us the opportunity to be among our family members, friends, and loved ones as of today. We also thank thee for giving us the opportunity to present another program of the Belizean Affairs show tonight, and we pray that whatever we say or do may it accrue to the well-being and benefit of our country and people, and that thy name be lifted up and be glorified as well. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts and our minds be acceptable before thee. Please bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. Please bless our country of the United States of America, its people and leadership as well. Thou knowest the trials and tribulations that we undergo on a daily basis and may yet to undergo. Please be merciful unto us all and guard and protect us. Please bless our family members, friends, and loved ones wherever they are, as if they were being mentioned by name and number. And please bless the rest of humanity as well, Lord Father. Those who are in wars, those who are in tornadoes, those who are in fires, those who are in hurricane and volcano eruption, and all manner of pestilence and devastation on the face of this earth. Please give us the strength, the courage, the endurance, the perseverance, and be merciful unto us that we may be able to survive and succeed at our endeavors as well. We ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Over to you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Chairman.
Leonard. I will do a reading from Revelation, Revelation to John, chapter 1. It reads, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show to his servants the things that must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw. Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy,
Mhm.
and blessed are those who hear and who keep what is written in it. For the time is near. John, to the seven churches that are in Asia, grace grace to you, and peace from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the seven spirits who are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead,
Hello, hello.
and the ruler of kings on earth,
Babes, I'm in the
to
middle.
him
I'm broadcasting right now. I'm disturbing the
who
program.
loved us
Unfortunately, you always catch
and
me as
has
I'm.
freed us from our
Huh?
sin
Okay, bye.
through his blood,
Take care. Love you. Bye bye.
and made us a kingdom, priests
That's
to
charming.
his God and Father. To him the glory glory and dominion, forever and forever. Amen. Behold, he is coming with the cloud, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen. I am the Alpha and Omega, says the Lord God, who is, and who was, and who is to come, the Almighty. I, John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom and the patient in the endurance that are in Jesus, was on the island called Patmos an account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. I was in the spirit of the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet. Then I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me. And on turning, I saw seven golden lampstands, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash around his chest. His hairs of his head were white, like snow wool, like snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace. And his voice was like a roar of many waters. In the right hand he held seven stars. From his mouth came a sharp two-edged sword, and his face was like the sun shining in full strength. When I saw him, I fell to his foot as though dead. But He laid his hands on me, saying, Fear not, I am the first and the last, and the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and Hades. Write therefore the things that you have seen, those that are, and those that are to take place after this. As for the mystery of the seven stars that you saw in my right hand, and the seven golden lampstands, that seven stars are the angels of the seven churches, and the seven lampstands are the seven churches. That's my reading. Kind of long, but it makes sense. So, um, Leonard, there's a lot going on in our country. You know, um, it seems that you know, our country right now is on commercials and seems that they're gearing up for an election to come. The crime and violence continue. Um, People are being, missing. No end in sight in terms of the crime and violence to stop. Um, you have a George Price Day today, holiday, and the message was, you know, um, the history should be kept alive. Right? Imagine the history, right, should be kept alive, and the culture, history and culture should be kept alive. That's what mostly the press conference today by the Prime Minister, that's what he alluded on. The history and culture should be kept alive. My people, if you
Mr.
listen,
Chairman, the history and culture of which he knows or appear to be interested in very little of it in lieu or in exchange for a new identity with the present effort that he's expending. But we'll deal with that as we move on
yes,
through the program.
yes,
Thank you very much, sir.
thank you. So I only repeating what he says, whether it comes from his heart, whether he meant what he says, or it's just another mouthful of hot air that he usually utters out for public consumption. Who consume it? Consume it. Who spit it out? Spit it out. They probably have a reason why they spit it out. I am one of those that spit it out. And you have a delegation of a Palestinian PLO was well received, and the main person that received that group was Miss Nancy Marin, the leader of the Belize. Uh, I forget her party, third party, right? But she was the one.
BPF.
BPF. I was part of that. I shivered ties from that group. I have my own reason, and I'm entitled. So I didn't see any people there from the relevant authorities who invited these people. I don't know, but they're here. What they're doing here, I don't know. I hope that they came here for a good reason. I hope so, right? And I hope that at some point, Brisenio and his PUP government would come to the public and say why they are here. What is their business here in our country? So, and again, we have the agenda of the Belize peace movement, taking the government to court again to do by the Constitution what is right. And that's redistricting and equal representation as per the Constitution of Belize. You have a prime minister, hired some big lawyers in this country, name brand,
Very, ex-
again,
very expensive.
very expensive, and he says, who is going to pay for it? He already told the nation and the world who is going to pay for that venture.
Taxpayers.
Again, taxpayers, he said. Who do you think? And that's what he told. Taxpayers, of course, to fight the very same people that he should be doing right to. The very same people that he swore to protect and serve. Fight the very same constitution, that constitution of this land that he put his hand on the Bible and swore that he is going to honor and protect the constitution of Belize. But he's fighting us, the little nobody, regular Belizean, born Belizean, voter and taxpayer, that taking the government to court to do what they supposed to do. Not maybe or no, they supposed to. Past and present government had refused to do what is right by the Constitution. They hurried took us to the ICJ with no reason to go to the ICJ. And look what they're doing to this little group of people who is just trying to say, man, look, please, let us have equal representation, man. Because it's way overdue and the nation needs it. Let us do redistricting. The nation needs it. All these Central American people you're bringing in and giving our passport to, right? Don't you, the population is growing, Mr. Man. Okay, so please, it's only fair and the right thing to do. Go ahead, Leonard.
Uh, I just wanted to ask a question, Mr. Chairman. Does the Governor General, who serves at the pleasure of the head of state, and we all know who that person is, not Mr. Briceño, by the way, because Mr. Briceño is subordinate to the Governor General, to whom he has to go and get permission or assent to be able to become the government of the country. In addition to, before that, first of all, he wants to be re-elected now, and he has to go and ask the Governor General to dissolve the House so that a new House can be elected. It is the Governor General's purview to decide whether or not she, being a woman in this instance, will grant that permission. But my question goes to this in specifics. Does the Governor General knows that the Constitution of Belize is being violated as regards to anyone coming to her and asking for her to assent to a new election before the remedy of the Constitution is brought into place. That is to say, with any failure of exercising or granting the rights of the people for a proper redivisioning to have nearly as equal an amount of voters in each division, to have the level of equal or equality under Section 6 of the Constitution that says all of us are equal under the law. I repeat the question, which I did not finish. Does the Governor General know that the Constitution of Belize is being bastardized and is being violated, specifically as regards to the Representation of the People's Act, which actually governs how elections are supposed to be run and under what conditions elections are justifiably run? Does she, the present Governor General, recognize and understand that it is a function of hers to decide whether or not she will allow another unconstitutional election to be held, whether or not she's going to subvert the powers vested in her by the head of state, to see to it that she assent to a request for a general election after the dissolution of the House, and for her to go ahead and assent to an illegal act, because those are two different things. Her ascension implies legality, or the rubber stamping of what is right, what is legal, what is constitutional. She should not be according to our Constitution and according to the powers that be, the head of state to whom she's accountable and who she's representing, as the executive powers of the country, which rest in the head of state, by the way. I don't know if I'm explaining that clearly enough for everybody to understand what I'm saying. But I ask the question, does she knows that by her assenting to another general election under these present circumstances, where the Constitution is willfully being violated, deliberately being violated, does she know that she should not be assenting to an illegal election, a bastardization of the Constitution? For it is within her rights and authority to question the government as regards to what is it that the government is doing by trying to hold illegal elections. Not that they haven't done it a few times before, but it is the right and the power and the executive authority of the Governor General to query into those matters. I'm not sure if anybody has informed her of that, or that anybody has taken the privilege or the opportunity to inform her that the Constitution requires that her ascension to a new election to the House of Representatives requires, first and foremost, that the rules, the regulations, the process, procedures, and protocols, as well as the policy of state in regards to Section 90 of our Constitution and the Representation of the People's Act of our Constitution, to which the Governor General has authority over by virtue of being the person that appoints, being the person that appoints the chairman of the election and boundaries and all the other subsequent commissioners. And it is within her rights and executive power to query requests of the government information based on any of these issues that are transgressing the Constitution of the country, to which these gentlemen came to her and had her assent to them becoming representation of the executive power vested in her and for them to go ahead and execute that. You mentioned just now about them going and swearing on the Bible and swearing allegiance of office and swearing allegiance to the Constitution before they get the privilege to be classified as ministers. And in particular, the Prime Minister, who is the greatest offender of them all, who is bastardizing our Constitution right, left, and center. And for him to want to have an election ahead of schedule, before the election before the date of November 11, of course he's authorized with that privilege to call it any day that he wishes. But he can call an election anytime he wishes. But it is for the Governor General to assent in order to make that calling of an election be viable, be constitutional, and be correct. Is the Governor General doing her job? Is she being informed as to where her power lies? And does she know when and how and under what circumstance she's supposed to exercise those powers in the interest of the country and people on behalf of the head of state? Or is she going to roll over because nobody is informing her that she has a vested interest to avoid unconstitutional acts by these jackals under her purview that is contrary and, as a matter of fact, amounts to sedition on behalf of her boss? Our Governor General, Ms. Salam, needs to exercise the powers of her prerogatives and see to it that no hanky-panky happens that allows these gentlemen to go into another general election unconstitutionally just by virtue of her blessing it or her assenting to it, and these guys turn around and take the power of the people vote and misrepresent it in the sense of saying, well, the people are sovereign people, and therefore the people decide to give them another mandate of 5 more years to run the country the way they have been running it for the last 5 years, even though the last election was illegal, by the way, because they did not follow the Constitution. They violated the Constitution. And any such violation of the Constitution itself says in Section 2, subsection 1, any such violation should be considered as null and void. Therefore, the election was held, the outcome was had, but it was an illegal election. It was a bastardized effort, and now they're trying to bastardize the Constitution, getting the powers of the people behind them to say we want to throw out the Constitution, lock, stock, and barrel, come up with a new Constitution that does not include a foreign head of state. Can anyone explain to me why that is not sedition? I yield back, Mr. Chairman. I'll leave it at that because I want that point to stay very salient in the minds of the people.
Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome, sir.
Real truth, and it's playing out right in front of our eyes every time. Who will hold these people to check? I have.
Mr. Chairman, we always ask that question, right? Who is going to bail the cat? It is the responsibility of the Governor General to see to it that another general election is not held in unconstitutional circumstances, and that she herself withholds any such request from them until they remedy or correct the bastardization of the Constitution. It is the Governor General that should hold these guys accountable. The people cannot hold them accountable other than through an election. And you cannot have an illegal election that does not allow the people to exercise their equal power among themselves. to decide who they want to represent them, rather than for these guys to decide who the people must accept to represent them. That's putting the cart in front of the horse. And as you queried just now, who will stop them? The Governor General have the power to stop them if she so chooses.
Thank you.
The Prime Minister could ask as many times for the Governor General to call a new election or to give them the authority to carry out a new election. But they can't carry out that election without her assent.
Thank
They can
you.
go through all the motions and it will still remain illegal and it will still remain unconstitutional. And the Governor General should stop these guys from violating our constitution.
Thank you.
I yield back, sir.
Thank you. In this country that I know and I see how things are done, yes, the Governor General should be, you know, not answerable to whoever brings them in. They have their own set of rules, right? But
Uh,
we see, how this head of state is being picked. Past government have their own set of rules how they pick their governor general, their auditor general, their general general, and general general. They have a way how they do that.
one word, one word. Subornable.
So
Mr. Chairman,
this governor general,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
one
sir.
word. Subornable. One
This
word,
go
sir.
any one of us in this country who have sense, who follow how this two-party system works, knows that we are not telling a lie. The fanatics will say, them two guys are liars, and also it done, right? And they do it with this and that, and also it done. You have a governor general who is governed by the person who gives her that job, but you see the bogus and the illegal state of emergency should have been signed by the governor general. No, but she have a governor general 2IC. And
Deputy.
who that
Deputy.
2IC is answerable to.
Cabinet.
So why I say this, the way the UDP had this country and the PUP had this country, if Johnny Briceño, the prime minister of this country, send a runner over with a document to the governor, he don't have to go. Sign him, Miss Salam. She will gladly sign it because it's a whole election tomorrow. She will gladly sign that. Although
No
maybe
questions
she
asked.
knows
No
that
question
it's
asked, sir.
illegal. Say again,
Would she be signing with no questions asked?
no questions asked. That's exactly what I'm saying. It has been done before. So why, it happen again? And work it more small. They have the super majority. Okay?
Not play no role in the particular point that we're discussing right now, though.
It play one
All
role if
100.
they want it
Wait,
so.
wait, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
All 100% of them, if all the UDP get together with all the PUP and all others, at 150% of them, including the legal ones, them, the unelected ones, them, okay, they still do not have any ability to be able to do what they want to have done, except with that ascension. That rubber stamp have to be there.
Technically, you're right. Right?
That
But
rubber
that's
stamp
not
have to
how
be
these
there.
people play. Technically, you're 110% right. But that's not how these guys play and had been playing. Right? So, my point is that as for me, I put my trust in the court. And what is the function of the court? Is to protect, honor the Constitution, right? And
That
rule by law, right?
that one word again, Mr. Chairman, subornable. When they give their contracts to these judges that come and sit on our court, they don't want the Belizean judges like Ms. Arana and others who know Belizean law because they've been practicing it long enough to the point of becoming judges, and who patriotically may hold their own in terms of upholding and holding strong the constitution of our country because they all know it. They prefer to give the contract to people that they bring in that are beholden to them and will not try to cross the government's path in no situation whatsoever, at least as of recently. And when I'm talking as of recently, I'm talking about as of this
Thank you.
particular administration. Because prior to this administration, we had judges who stood up and told the government where the hell to go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me that opportunity.
Thank you. And those of us, again, I say those of us who are not in tune with a UDP agenda or a PUP agenda, have our own thinking mind, and could see for ourselves and think for ourselves, we see how these judges are picked from way over yonder, the next part of the world. They hurdle and then they pick that one. When they don't question all and then they pick that one. You the come that believes to be the judge in this country. Because you don't want good judge. I see how me and you and be friend, right? That's how the UDP did it. That's how the PUP did doing it, and it will never change, right? With this two-party system, when they are gone and no longer, then it will change, right? Because whoever will be coming in to take over does not think like a PUP, does not think like a UDP, right? And they'll have a reason why they will sit down there to change that. Okay? But until then, that's what we have. And that's what we have to deal with. But I still put my faith in the courts. I still. And when they do wrong ruling, they know. They know. Because they know the law. When they rule the right way, well, it's the right way, right? And the only way, right? But time and time again, you see they rule wrongly. They have their reason why they do that. They're only human. They're not android and work with machine. They're human. Some are easy to be stubborn and compromised, and some are hard to compromise. So I say this, and it's real. You could do me anything you want to do me for saying what I say, because that's how I feel and that's how I see it. No
That's
other
your
way,
that's your constitutional right, sir, and your inalienable
right?
right and your
So,
natural right.
right. So if you have to jail me for speaking out, well, go right ahead. I'll go to jail for doing the right thing. So, I still have my faith in the courts. Leonard, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. I just want to get the clarity of something else. Since you went there with that last statement that you made about if they want to do you anything because you speak truth to power and you read your constitution and you know what it requires, I want to take that to another level. And I want to say it like this. I read the Constitution. I know my Constitution inside and out, upside down, sideways, backways. Uh, I don't think anybody could actually discuss the Constitution with me and leave me in the dust to the point where I'm not able to understand what they're saying or be able to have a lucid conversation with just about any of our lawyers in regards to the constitutional matters on the Belize Constitution. But that said, I said that and I preface with that because I'm about to say something that most lawyers wouldn't attempt to do or say, and only because I think I have enough behind me to be able to justify my saying what I need to say or what I'm about to say is why I'm going to go ahead and say it. The laws of our country requires that the Governor General, the last person that I made reference to in terms of who can stop this bastardization of our constitution and who can check these people, as you had asked the question earlier, and I made reference as per what the constitution stipulates, that the Governor General has the ability to be able to do so. But I wonder if these jackals that we have in our country, because I recall why I'm asking this question, I recall them at one point try to say to Mr. What the gentleman name from Fort Loyola under the UDP, he was the minister,
Boots.
Mr. Boots Martinez. I recall when the PUP stepped on the man's effort to try and get a recall in that particular district recently, all the mechanics and the mechanisms was put in place in motion to deny him that opportunity on a timely basis. Okay? Anybody could parse that the way they want, and it doesn't matter to me. Arrive at your own conclusion, you're entitled to that. Any of you out there, Belizeans at home and abroad, ministers, government officials, judges, juries. In fact, I'm talking right now and I'm addressing an issue that pertains to the purview and powers of the Governor General. So I'm even talking about the Governor General all the way down. I'm no respecter of person when it comes to the territorial integrity of my country, the well-being of my country, and and my people. Most soldiers, when they go to war, expect to be hurt, or the possibility is that they may not return back home. And if they do, some of them understand quite logically that they may not return alive, but they may return in a casket or some other form if they get to go back home. I am not fatalistic, but I'm resolute, which is why I take the time and the opportunity to acquire the necessary knowledge to back up my resoluteness. So I'm going to say this clearly, as clearly as I think I should be able to say it, without impugning and or infringing. These guys told Mr. Boots that he could have been locked up or could have been charged for bringing into repute the Governor General. In other words, their perspective of what it is that they classify as bringing into repute the Governor General is for anyone to complain about anything that has to do with the Governor General. I would just as well take all of them and put it in my little back pocket. Okay? If they want to come to me with any kind of craziness. Because that is not what the Constitution stipulates about bringing in disrepute the Governor General. What the Constitution contemplates in that regard is anyone who personally and maliciously and deliberately attempts to besmirch or degrade or libel or the other term is to discredit the Governor General is subject to being hauled into court and being accused of bringing the Governor General's office into disrepute. You see how far I gone with that explanation? To the point where, after explaining it, then most people should be able to understand that what I'm saying out here, these jackals could turn around and use and claim that I fall into that category. But I dare to explain it so that the general public can understand that what they intimated as far as Mr. Boots was concerned, well, not as far as he was concerned, as far as the issues that he was making reference to, was incorrect. But that's how they play the game. They don't worry about whether something is right, wrong, or indifferent. They worry about what kind of political malice they could get out of their dastardly conduct. I don't mind. Politics is politics. There are strange people that get involved in politics for all kind of nefarious reasons. But personally, I'm gonna say this:
Thank you.
when I
Thank you.
when I bring to the attention of the public that the Governor General has the authority and the power vested in her by the Constitution, all I'm doing is stating the obvious. Of course, it will be obvious to those who know and those who read and understand and know their Constitution. I'm not saying something new. I'm saying something that is constitutional. The Governor General have that authority because the Constitution gives that authority to her. The Prime Minister has to dissolve the House, well, not dissolve the House, has to make a request to dissolve the House before another election is called. There are practice procedures, protocols, and procedures that he has to abide by in order to get that next election that is due or that is coming up to happen legally and constitutionally. The elections normally, under normal circumstance, should go for the full term of 5 years. But the Constitution gives the privilege to the Prime Minister to go to the Governor General and request an earlier date for that election to be held. And he would be within his rights. But it is also within the rights of the Governor General to make sure that if that election is going to be called soon, as we all have been speculating, then as soon as possible, before that soon date comes for the election to be held, the Constitution must be vindicated and the rights of the people must be paramount. The Prime Minister cannot come out in his official capacity as Prime Minister and say, well, he know and obey the Constitution, he know and abide by the rules of the Constitution, and still expect the Governor General to abide by his request to let him have another election. When in fact that election is not due until November. If the Governor General wants to act in her capacity as the Constitution mandates that she should and is entitled to do, she can refuse to give an ascension to a date that precedes the 11th of November if the Prime Minister is not dutifully making the effort to get this matter resolved. And it shouldn't take months and years for it to be resolved, which is what he's trying to say. That probably in the next, after he wins this coming election, in his own words, then 2 years after maybe he can bring that matter about. People need to remember, the Prime Minister is not God, he's not the head of state. And he can only do certain things legally, by the way, because he does a lot of damn craziness that is illegal and gets away with it. And the presumption is, well, he's the Prime Minister, so therefore, whatever he does has to be accepted. That is just not how the real world is. We are just unfortunate in Belize that our people that have the powers do not exercise those powers the way they were intended to be exercised. But I'm going to yield back, Mr. Chairman, because I think I did enough explanation, and I hope that people could gather the knowledge or the understanding out of what I said just now to realize that they are being bamboozled and better could be had. I yield back. Thank you
Thank
very much
you.
for the privilege accorded, sir.
Thank you, Leonard. Well said.
You're welcome, sir.
I just hope that, you know, the nation and the people, step up and says, well, tell your, I'm going to put it in a simple Belizean term, tell your area representative that we don't want no more illegal election to be held. We want redistricting done. We want equal representation or near as equal representation, not the way it is right now. You know, it's way overdue. And I want you to tell them that, it's not equal because I was studying numbers. Some areas have 2,000 plus people. In Belize City, 3,000 plus people. Um, where the masses are there who control this country with this little bit of representation. And you have places, other constituency with 10,000, 13,000, 8,000. You know, tell them, bring it out. And all along they've been having illegal election because we're not equal. I mean, why are these people afraid to do the right thing? Shine Barrow, they make no kind of effort. He's piggybacking on our submissions to the court now when he could have ample time to do what he's supposed to do as representing the people as the opposition party. That's what an opposition party does. But what he does, you think he want to give up? Do you think he want to give up his 2,000 people? No, he will sit on that. He will not tell Britannia, well, he's saying it now because the matter is public knowledge now, and a lot of things happening, and I don't want you to be piggybacking on my group, or especially where my name is at, Mr. Shine Barrow. I don't want you to do that. You go and take out a separate claim that you should have done. File a separate affidavit, right? As you should have done as the leader of the opposition,
He's being
paid
paid.
by the taxpayers, my brother. You're doing a disservice to this country.
Mr. Chairman.
Don't you know that?
Mr. Chairman. But
Who does that?
The gentleman, Mr. Shine Barrow, looks at some of the people that are working in your group and tell them good luck. Instead of him to get the ass up and do for his job. That's how facetious. That's how dastardly. That's how unpatriotic that the man see one opportunity available for him to have gotten on the front end of this thing to help it become a reality, since he would benefit from it also. But he turns around and besmirch you guys. And they tell him about good luck. And he's supposed to be do his job like we said just now. He's being paid to do that job.
You're doing a disservice to this country, Mr. Man, right? But where is your interest?
Where is his patriotism?
Your interest is not about Belize. Your interest is not about the people. You know darn well what is your interest, right? And I'm not going to say it because you know it, right? It's a travesty to see what's playing out with you guys, right? The country deserves better, right? You guys are a disgrace, right? As calling yourself opposition. We here on this medium, we are the opposition of this country. We are the opposition, not you. Only you know what you the fight for. Only you know. But I say this, Mr. Man, don't be piggybacking now at this point in time, right? I don't really appreciate it. I don't like it, right? Put your name, get your group, file a separate petition, and affidavit, and do your thing as the leader. Don't be piggybacking now on the Belize peace movement, us that has this matter in court for you, right? Instead, you stand up in the house and do what you're supposed to do. But no, it's okay with you. Sad. Hogwash. Who does that?
Uh, Mr. Chairman, the man, the man had the area representative from Kyle South, Mr. Julius Espat, stand up in at the house and belittle him, saying that he was asking for favors from the PUP government so he could get some houses in the district. Now, normally, all representatives supposed to equally have the opportunity to get up and make that kind of request. And that Mr. Julius was saying that he give the man credit at least for make an attempt to look after the constituents. But if any other UDP member make it up and ask Mr. Julius to assist them in that kind of way, he would say that member is crossing the aisles. Okay? He's working with and on behalf of the interests of Mr. Julius. Make Julius look good. So he cross the aisles, but he will not be kicked out of the party or be pushed over to on the PUP side of the thing. In fact, the other day, he tried to push one members them away from him so that they don't appear to be on his same side or as part of his party. He's trying to say, well,
Well,
they crossed the aisles. No, he crossed the aisles, and why don't he stay over the other side of the aisle? I yield back, sir.
thank you.
That's not a question, by the
So
way.
I call Leonard and my people, both at home and
Oh,
abroad,
man.
especially I call in the diaspora, to put this thing in context, and voice your concern. I mean, you all have loved ones in this country, right? People that you support on a daily basis, right? Do you want to keep supporting this kind of bastardization of your constitution, man? How do you ban Belizean American that's in the in the diaspora and around the world? Ban Belizean, no matter Belizean by naturalization. I'm calling out the ban Belizean man who left this country and the other part of the world, right? Call these people, man, and tell them don't continue to support them. They go over there and they hurdle someone in a little town hall meeting there and I don't know yes to everything these people say because I'm giving you a little lot. I will help you with this, and I give you a little real estate agency where you go sell land and make money and this and that, and you come on, man, stop that, man. You don't need that, right? No need that. Who does that? When you have the power to call these people and tell them to do the right thing. So I urge you in the diaspora, my
Subor-
people,
Subordinable. Subordinable. Remember that one word? It
right?
keep coming up.
My
Go ahead,
people,
Mr. Chairman.
my
Sorry.
diasporan, call these crooks and tell them, stop doing that to your people. Stop doing that to your country unless you don't love your people and your country and continue to support that kind of bastardization, right? And that kind of shenanigans that they sit in front of, oh no, I don't know, grin up and all that, their face and say like, it's okay, man, oh yes, say you, they do a wonderful job. Bull crap and need to stop that, right? So I say this to say that, I call on you guys to do the right thing, not do the wrong thing, not do the right thing. right? And in the eyes of God, once you do the right thing, you know, that's a good thing. And then what's happening on the ground here now, like always, then they push street and they, dump white mall and they do all kind of thing now for this little moment now because then they prepare a city man down south, the Osborne Martinez guy, they, dump white mall and they dump street, you know. It never change, never stop. It's the same thing. After election is come and gone, they are gone too, right? Is this the kind of situation, a repetitious cycle, right? Repetitious cycle. And then you have people on the other side, oh yeah, my minister, the work, my this, and my. Stop that, man. Stop settling for this shenanigans. This is crap that they're doing all the time when an election is close by. Put an end to that. You paying them year round. They're getting money year round, not only when election time. You should see them working, right? And another thing, when it rain, that at the time they want to work on road, right? And what they do to one of my people when they do these things, they left we in a mud and water, right? I'm not tired of that, man. Come on. Got a situation up north now. This man he done label the whole one elite constituency blue. The one in another village up orange walk there. One blue flag every lamppost a blue flag. It blue now, right, as I speak. Right? Over and over. You see it the last election. You see it again. And these things got to stop. Right? Then you have the people in the Belize River Valley. They need help. Right? These people still suffering, Leonard, in after that flood and that storm that passed,
We didn't do the
right?
money we didn't get.
Instead of getting it ready for giving it out for
They
election,
sent that money to help the people them.
right?
We didn't do it.
As usual, and no
We
accountability, Leonard,
then
right?
repurpose it to something else.
No accountability, and I call on the media. Another thing, Leonard. Let me say this real quick, while Pastor. I call on the media, right, to start doing a public good by putting it out there through your medium and get the constitution, man. Right? We go on and get and quote what we are saying right here and put it out here. We need redistricting as per the constitution and as per uno media station. No, as per the constitution. We're not afraid to do that. I don't need equal representation. That will be a good thing for a public service. For the public. You're serving the public and your nation. Uno no got no loyalty. Uno no got no love for uno people. Only the shenanigans that uno do with these ministers and these air representatives when they go sit down in our studio and still afraid to ask them the hard question, right? You let them have a field day like they're doing such a great job, right? You know, these things got to stop, man. Put the hard question to these people when I say hard question and true, right? Like ask the man why. Who does that? Why you don't want to do it? And why you will say you will do it until after? Because that's stupid. You will do it after you get elected again. If you get elected, you will do it after then. Well, ask. These are the questions you should ask these guys, right? But no, laugh and grin and everything is okay because whatever. But anyway, go ahead, Leonard.
Mr. Chairman, I'm pretty much disturbed about the idea that our Belizean people, I'm not going to say all or everybody, but enough of them that could make the difference. Some of them that know better, someone don't know better, someone should have known better, but could care less, run with this kind of agenda when people tell them about stay up on track. Go back and look down the track behind you and see all the mayhem, all the bones, all the carcasses, all the issues and problems that occurred over the last 5 years. Well, 4 plus and counting, to be exact, or to be more precise. And tell me that most Belizeans are no better off than they were before these jackals took office. Because they promised when they got in they were going to make it better for all of us. Todos ganamos, that's what they say. That was their main phrase. Of course, they know me to talk to the Creole Belizeans them, right? Because how should the Creole Belizeans they know what todos ganamos mean? He was talking to the people in a way they bring across the border and facilitate to make them win, to make them succeed. And he's enabling them and empowering them and providing for them what he should have been providing for the local Belizeans. That according to the Constitution, the wealth untold of our country, or patrimony, supposed to be spent and used in such a way that everybody, including man, woman, and children, derive some public benefit from our natural assets. Back in Mr. Price days, I could recall in the early 50s, 1950s, when they were building up Cinderella Plaza, I mean not Plaza, Cinderella Town, because the plaza was already there at that time. I used to carry my grandmother, the chair where you sit down pan, to go listen to Mr. Price, who was godfather to one of her children then. Listen to his Belizean speeches and so on. And the man used to always say that every Belizean is entitled to a piece of land, whether for farm pan or at least as a minimum one house lot to make them could live pan. And that man did enough of that throughout the length and breadth of his political career. He was always facilitating the people, and not just only the PUP people he used to facilitate, because he was of the pension and the belief that he could convert over even the opposition people, at that time being the NIP and other independent people. So the man used to work hard to convince them people to come over for his side, to work with him, rally with him, and help run and achieve his agenda. These jackals that we have nowadays, they have no such compulsion. None of them, I think, ever gone to the ministry school. They gone and learn how to be one Jesuit. Mr. Price did. And kudos to him having had that privilege accorded to him by the St. John's Jesuits, who recommended him to go and study abroad, hoping that he would have been successful at becoming a Jesuit priest. At least the man gone, studied, and picked up enough humanitarian perspectives and concepts to the point where when he came to Belize and was not successful as to become a priest, he used some of the same skills in political affairs. He knew how to be humble, or at least pretend to be humble. He knew how to be helpful to friends and enemies alike, especially if you could have be the man enemy. But so long as you do things that benefit his cause, He wasn't concerned about you being an enemy or classified as an enemy. A lot of the people that used to work with that man, they were previously his enemy, that he converted eventually to his side. But I'm saying this, that these guys that we have now, where they try imitate and emulate, but I shouldn't say it like that either because that's not necessarily true. They know they try emulate or imitate Mr. Price. All they do is try live off of the fumes of Mr. Price's existence. Then it's hide behind Mr. Price frack. Well, I shouldn't even say he frack. Should I say? Then they try hide behind the man's shadow, which would be a more appropriate way of saying it. The man dead and gone, and the long shadow that he left behind during the course of his career. These guys, as of today, date when they gone so-called venerate the man or praise the man or talk good about the man. They're pretending that, well, they are just carrying out and trying to live through the rest of his agenda. When in fact, then it disgraces the man. Never in Mr. Price's lifetime can anybody accuse a man of denying them one plate of food. In fact, he used to go eat out of people food, people kitchen. He used to go in a certain kitchen where they campaign and eat their food. You see any of these jackals that do that around Belize now? After the election finished and they don't pay them people and leave $50 and give them and leave a couple of beer and we'll leave barbecue and we'll leave it and music to make them enjoy for that day. After that, they don't want to see them people no more. The people then go sometime at the office, go ask and leave help. The man then show up, or only certain people then make to see there. But anyhow, Mr. Chairman,
so Leonard, you know, on the road that you're on right now, when I open up and talk about, you know, the culture day, I mean the George Price Day today, and I mentioned the man main agenda was culture and history. Why I say that? I say that because some of his very ministers and representatives, they don't know about our culture. They try to do away with our culture. They don't know about our history. Look how they tried to bastardize the 10th of September publicly. Even an anchor station, even a Channel 7, one of the anchor, they say it's a myth, right?
That's what they teach them at college.
So that's why I say that. Mm-hmm. And the other reason why I say that is because the news lady asked a young lady today and show her the sculpture of Mr. Honorable Philip Golson. And she doesn't know that. She don't know who that was. Right? Don't know at all. But if I may ask her, show her one picture of George Price, you may know and I know, right? So why I'm saying this, right? I'm saying this because once you're black, right, you're not mentioned a lot. You're thrown under the bus and forgotten, right? But they teach this father of the nation, lead us to independence and all the good things, but they don't tell you the bad things. But they teach this in school. But they not teach about Mr. Philip Golson. May he rest in peace. That's one of my heroes, right? So that's why I say this, right? Is that right? No, it's not right, right? And anybody with good sense could see that it's not right, and it's a lie that they're saying there for culture and history. Their action shows different, right?
Traitors.
So that's why I say, with me, when that guy utters something out of his mouth, I don't swallow that. I'm not a fanatic. I will not swallow it, right? Because I know otherwise, and I think otherwise, right? So, Leonard, time is always an essence, and we narrowing down. I'll pass it over to you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
And as I speak, we have a murder right now in up Gales Point right now. But murder is done, you know. All is good and dandy, and the statistics show that murder is done. Moose, the senior guy say the Musa guy is doing a great job, right? And the police are doing a great job. Right? Murder is done. I just say that
Uh,
to say that there's a
does,
murder right.
does that mean that less people got killed, Mr. Brackett?
Yes, let's be fair.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no. I'm being
yeah.
facetious, right? Because I
And
recall that
Len, I
wait,
want you
I
to
recall
expound
one
on
point, one
the. Go ahead.
one point. I recall Julia, no, Jules, not Julius. I kind of mix up the two gentlemen then. But I recall Jules posing a question to Mr. Chester about the fact that it seems to him, Jules, and apparently to other people as well, that the way they report murder and the way the other classifications of dead people are reported is
I
that
know murder.
some are not murder, they are dead,
Yeah, well,
and they were
yeah,
killed by somebody else.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
murder
Right,
in
yeah.
some
He
cases.
was right too. He
But
was
yeah,
right too. But you see the answer
the
you get, right?
classification of whether it's a murder, because murder is the outright first degree capital crime, right? Of unliving somebody.
And not forget poverty and unemployment.
Also help to unlive people, right? Can
No,
shorten their
I'm
lives.
saying right. It's done. The
Oh yes,
statistics
yes,
show it's done.
yes,
Murder
yes.
and I mean murder, unemployment and
Well,
poverty. Oh,
how
it's way done. We know,
Jules
right?
Jules was saying that how they get the murder number down from what it should actually reflect is by reclassifying some of the dead people as not having been murdered. They have been killed, but they were not murdered. The classification is that they charge the person they will commit the murder or what we call kill the people, and charge them with a different charge that does not stipulate murder, and therefore the statistics will be showing less people as having been murdered
Uh,
and some other people as having just been killed.
First
And
degree
in
and second
exchange,
degree, right?
yeah,
And they play with that. They play with that. That's what they play with, Leonard.
bunch of scoundrels, man.
Right. So I was going to ask you, Leonard, what you think about this delegation, PLO? And I understand that that delegation was taken to the Prime Minister's office there, and he is 100% with the Palestinian cause. That's probably
Well,
a hundred percent.
not only just him,
Go ahead.
a lot of the top people them in our government
What's that?
and others who are not necessarily of the Palestinian heritage, they are being suborned by virtue of being made members of cabinet and or being given the support to become elected as members of the House, and others who they put in position to become senators. So therefore, a small handful of people of Palestinian descent run and control all of we governance powers, including the Prime Minister's um, Minister of Finance and Minister of Immigration and Minister of kind of the man take on so much other ministries. But that's not the point. The point is that you have more people who are sympathetic to the Palestinian cause running our government to the point where they can feel like they can stand up to America and Israel and all the other people them, the European countries them, and still pretend to be doing so, looking after the interests, but they suborn the interests of Belize as a country to their own personal patrimony. That is to say, as Palestinians and or others that take the full faith and credit and powers of our governance and subordinate to their own personal political agendas. And they fail to understand that when the blowback comes, it's the people of Belize going to suffer, not them as the political entities or individuals. I'm not questioning whether or not they were doing good or bad in regards to being sympathetic to what was happening, because we are all human beings. And we have to see where wrong is wrong. And even though we may not want to call it out, because if we don't call it out, then we must have to put some skin in the game. We should back up our words. But the people of Belize have not spoken to that extent on these issues, so they should not be subordinating the whole governance powers of the country on only their personal agendas. It should line up with the people of the country. And it is their responsibility then to educate the people, to get the people to buy into their perspective or agendas, so that when the blowback comes and they all have to suffer the consequences, that at least they know, well, you know, they don't mind taking the blowback, because
Also,
blowback will happen, and that's unfortunate.
also, Leonard, I want to say this too. I'm not cut you. I'll give you really back to you, but I'll want you to remind you and remind the people and the nation that when they were forming the Constitution Reform Committee, they refused the Creole culture.
Exactly, because
This
they were
man
not.
Briseño refused, and this man stand up there and talk about keep culture alive.
He
He
said we are not.
refused
The
the
man said
Creole
we are.
culture on the and he
Mr.
states 101 reason why. He said too
Mr.
much
Chairman,
people and this and that and
Mr.
another.
Mr. Chairman, the man
So
said
just
we
to show
are.
you, I just to
The,
remind you.
the man said that the Creole people are a non-entity. We are a minority. We not play no role anymore, and he is
Okay,
making sure and guaranteeing that by bringing in
okay.
thousands of people
Who
more.
forget that,
There was a
right?
time when the Creole and the Garifuna and the Mestizo, local Mestizo people from across from Cayo and people from across from northern Belize, Orange Rock and Corozal from over to Mexico, and the Mayans them, and the Garifunas them, and the Creoles them, we all used to coexist, and we all used to be like a solid majority, sustainable community,
Amen to
interacting
that.
and intermarrying each other, and we had a strong country. Now we have a strong country, but the politicians are now beholden to the people that they imported to serve their own political agendas. And the
That
Prime
too.
Minister is going to stand up and tell us in public on the airwaves that he no mind violating Section 27 of 29 of we Constitution. That is, to bring Guatemalans into we country and make them citizens, contrary to what the Constitution says. Why? Because they are claiming our country as being their property. How the hell can he make a Guatemalan a citizen of Belize and give that Guatemalan more right than the born Belizeans? That wouldn't happen in the United States, or it wouldn't happen in no other part of the world. But these
That
jackals and hyenas are fifth columnists in our country, and we entrust them with the highest power of our country. So therefore, they are the biggest traitors. As
that
far as I'm
too.
concerned, they are treasonous.
Not too long ago, Leonard, this same group of people they marched and along with the Schumann guy, when Israel and Palestine started war, not war, killing, they marched. They
You see,
again, they again, and they went publicly. So I said, wow, I wish these same ministers, the same guy, how we know them,
uh huh,
would march for the Belizean cause. When
exactly.
they have, you never see them do that, but they were out there marching and paid by the taxpayers of this country that day. Because
Belize was
Schumann
only
has
there.
been paid by the taxpayers. Don't know where he there, right? But he was the main driver
He came
with
from
other
Cuba.
with other ministers. They march
He's in Cuba.
supporting, showing
He's
their
in Cuba
strong
as an
public
ambassador.
support for the Palestine, right?
He's an
And here they
ambassador
are
from.
today, right?
He's
I'm not
he's
saying what Israel did was
yeah.
right, you know.
No,
I'm not
I
saying
wouldn't
that.
even go there. I wouldn't even go there.
Right? I won't go there.
Because
I'm saying,
that's a
right?
complete different. That's a different animal unto
But
itself.
this situation here, and the man says he's 100% with the Palestine, with the PLO.
Well, I don't have any problem with him saying that. He's entitled to say or believe or accept
Exactly.
whatever. You know, just don't take the whole of we country and dump it in a mixture. Because
But don't
in
say the
reality,
people. He should said
they
him.
had no such authority to do that or rights to do that
See,
because they
that's
paint all
another
away with the
thing.
same brush.
Yes, that's another thing. They like to say the Belizean people, Leonard, when in fact it's not so. Why they not say me? Why you not say me, Johnny Briceño, and whoever was with him, the lady Nancy Marina, and whoever we support these people? Not say the Belizean people because it's a lie, right? But that's what they say, Leonard,
Well, the Belizean
right?
people made the mistake of electing him or electing them.
You know,
That's
you
what
and Miss
happened.
Nancy Marin and whoever was there, right? Not the Belizean people. Don't say that. It's wrong to say that. But
Uh,
anyway,
we're
Leonard,
heading
time
close
is
to the ending
of
of
an
the.
essence. Want to
Want
do
to do closing?
closing,
Yes, sir.
do a closing, and then I'll 3 minutes for you, and then I'll take the other
Okay, sir.
five.
Uh, I just want to ask my compatriots in Belize, or I should say, Belizeans at home and abroad, is our country going to get hoodwinked into holding another illegal election? Is the Governor General going to assent to the dastardly, unconstitutional, malicious, and anti Belizean request from the current Prime Minister to allow him to go ahead and violate the Constitution again or some more? Because as of right now, he's violating the Constitution by not doing what he was supposed to do while spending money from the Treasury to pay the highest level lawyers in our country to defend the government when the government have the Solicitor General, have the Attorney General, Deputy Solicitor General, and they have all kind of other lawyers in cabinet and in the House that should be able to come to the rescue of the government and advocate legal postures of the government without having to go pay those high powered, expensive lawyers to defend them to continue violating the Constitution. I was about to say something. I'm glad I didn't say it. Um, anyhow, um, let me take it out my mind. I'll try to dump it out my head. I wish, on behalf of the Belizean people, that the Governor General should step to the plate now and see to it that she fulfills her obligations as vested in her by the head of state and the Constitution of Belize. That is to say, put in check a devious, malicious, runaway government that is acting as a scofflaw and require that government to comply with the basic constitutional prescripts. That is not too much to ask for, especially if they are going to barefacedly say they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it, and they're going to wait until they are in a mood to do it. If they win the next election, which they intend to conduct as another illegal operation, don't tell me that the Governor General cannot do her job the way it is written in the Constitution and intended for her to do. Because then what that would say is that she would be then aiding and abetting a criminal enterprise. That's my closing, sir.
Thank
Let,
you.
let,
Thank
let,
you.
let them take me to court under the pretext that I'm maligning and or disparaging. Because all I'm doing is querying as to why the powers of the Constitution are not being, as vested in those individuals, are not constitutionally and legally exercised. They want to carry me to court for that? Let's go. I ready any day, then ready. But then I want to carry me to no court because they can't win no such cases in court. And the only other option they have left is to try to deal with me on a personal level. And if I am at this point of res- resoluteness, what make them think that they are in any position to be able to deal with me in any way that would end up being a positive outcome for them?
Thank you.
They really do not know how close they are.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you.
I yield back,
And
sir. Thank you very much.
it's truth. And we are advocate for people and nation. We advocate for the people who cannot get up and speak out for themselves. All the people that's in their little back villages and all the and where they say they had visited these people and educate them and all that and thing. That's what they be. But anyway, we are the voice for all those people in the back villages who do not know what's going on. We are your voice, right? So I say this to say that I call on the Belizean people, both at home and abroad, lobby these guys and tell them that it's high noon and enough is enough. Please get the redistricting done and so that we have equal representation, right? And it's the right thing to do, right? And my people, I urge you, you know, um, stop supporting, stop supporting these criminality. Stop supporting this two-party system who has us where we are 2025, right? Is it any better? Right? You keep doing the same thing over and over and you don't see no result for them. Right? So why don't you try in the next election the Belizean justice movement, right? Who will be on the ballot? We are not attorneys. We are not related to no past politician. We not got no power, me sir. We not got no uncle, me sir. We not got no auntie, me sir. No, we are a group of loyal
Concerned.
Belizean who had served our country too, some of us, right? And who had walked the walk and who knows what it is that you are going through because we have been there. We have been there. So we are here to help you get out of that because we know what it is. We walk in other footstep, we foot in other shoe, and we know what we go through, and we try help you. So if you don't want to take that, that offer, go back to your Toro Ganamos and your UDP, right? Your that is in shambles right now. Your paid opposition. But I urge you, support the Belizean justice movement for that change that you rightfully deserve. On that note, I want to say good night. It's always a pleasure, Leonard, to sit in your company. And for those who view us
The pleasure is also mine, sir.
across in the diaspora, across the country and around the world, thank you. And again, do the right thing and call these people and tell them to do the right thing. Okay? And I say good night to those who view us tonight and send us our text. Sorry, we not read it, but we will do that on Friday. And on that note, I want to say good night.
Good night, Mr. Chairman. Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. God bless. Uh-oh. phone.